Hi folks, Coach Mark here, and today I thought we would talk about ice baths. I'm sure you have all heard about ice baths and pros and cons of taking ice baths after you have some type of a long or hard workout. So first of all, full disclosure, I don't do ice baths. I used to. I tried them for a while, but what happened is that it was way too entertaining for my wife and kids who would come and watch me do this and just chuckle and chortle the whole time. I don't know that I felt any different and I didn't do it. However, just because I'm not doesn't mean it's not a good idea. You will find all kinds of people like me that don't do ice baths. You will find a whole lot that do, and there are a lot of coaches and athletes that I respect that really recommend ice baths. So, why would you want to put yourself through this torture? It's the same principle as rice. I'm sure you've heard about rice. If you have an injury, rest, ice, compression, elevation. This is the ice part. The purpose of the icing is to reduce inflammation when you've got rice. And it's really the same principle when you're doing an ice bath. So when you have a really long run, or you have a particularly hard run, you create damage to your body is essentially what's happening. The little micro tears in all your muscles, and there's an inflammation that's there whether you actually feel that or not. The ice helps reduce that inflammation and helps you recover more quickly. That's the principle behind an ice bath. So let's talk about what you would do if you wanted to give ice baths a try. First of all, the temperature, probably like 55 to 60 degrees. Doesn't need to be much more than that. Generally speaking, if you turn on just the cold water in your tap and then you add a bunch of ice, you're probably going to be in that neighborhood. You don't have to get a thermometer and stick it in it. You don't really want it to be much colder than that, but 55 to 60 degrees is about the right time. What did I say next? Oh, like I said, after long runs and hard runs is when you want to do these. People do not do them after every single run. It's after those ones where you're really doing the most micro tears to some of the muscles. And 8 minutes, give or take, is the most you want to be in there. Probably not more than 8. I don't think I'd have to convince anybody to stay in there longer. But you probably want at least 6. So like a 6 to 8 minute time period is how long you want to be in the ice bath. It also only needs to be the lower extremities. You can just be in from the waist down. It's your legs that you're really trying to get covered. It doesn't need to be up to your neck. And my final tip, you can wear clothing. When I was doing my ice baths like this woman here, I put a hat on, keep the heat from escaping out of my head. I had a shirt on. Obviously, I had shorts on underneath because the wife and kids were watching me. So you want to be bare skinned down below, but wear some clothing. You'll be a little bit warmer if you decide to do an ice bath.